goodness. Big move Monday. Look out. A way to end the tournament.
So what's happening, people? Welcome back to the Quad Pod, sponsored by Poseidon Strength and Adidas Wrestling. Make sure you're using our discount codes at checkout whenever you visit our awesome sponsors. All the info is below. As always, it's great to be joined by these gentlemen. We got Robbie, Austin, Kevin. I'm Holmes. We appreciate all of you guys joining us for, what is it, episode 18 now, I think is where we're at. 18, 19, so. I think it's 18. Please make sure that you guys are liking, sharing, subscribing, all those fun things. Get into the conversation with some comments below. Send us an email if you feel like it. Hit us up on social. We're not hard to find whatsoever. Shout out to Jason Bryant for commenting that he was literally liking, sharing, and subscribing last week, as well as, you know, doing a great job at Worlds. But today we're obviously going to talk about the men's freestyle performance. We've got still a couple of guys left to go. I think it's, well, yeah, SNYDER, Real Wood still left in there. But then we'll also talk about Gable Steveson's debut, some new assistant coaches, and what we make of Bo Bassett taking not one, but 2 trips to Nebraska. So definitely some fun stuff to get to. We'll have even more, I guess, coaching stuff next week as well. But we'll talk about the 2 that we can this week. The 3 that we can this week. But first, let's do our weigh-in, and I'm going to, I guess, in a sense, take it back to my roots, my boxing roots, and give a shout out to Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford. Fight was great. I hope they do a rematch, but the atmosphere looked incredible. I had some friends that had gone and had been there at the fight, and they said it was like electric from start to finish. Huge crowd. It was an amazing fight. To be there and watch it. It was also great to sit at home and watch it on Netflix as well, which, you know, we talked about before with the UFC switching gears and having that $7 billion contract that they have with a streaming service where you can get one subscription and get everything. I love the fact that Netflix has now done a couple of boxing matches. I guess we can leave Jake Paul, Mike Tyson out of it, but I love that they are at least bringing it to the masses in that way. I think I saw today that there was 41 million people that watched that fight on Netflix, which is an insane amount of people. I obviously come from a foundation of boxing that used to be on HBO. So seeing things now on a regular subscription platform is really cool, mostly because boxing has become second fiddle for the longest time behind the UFC and behind like bare knuckle boxing and all these other fight platforms that we have. Right. And so to see Netflix putting boxing on a great platform and showcasing it for everyone to watch, I think it really shows that if you have the right fighters, or the right boxers, I should say, and the right platform, that people will watch. 41 million is a lot of freaking people. So, like I said, the fight was awesome. It was really cool to watch 2 guys of that caliber actually go at it and not be so cautious with everything that they did in the fight. So awesome fight. Hoping for more boxing to be on Netflix. Hopefully Shakur Stevenson gets into the mix in that. I'm kind of a big fan of him. I like how he fights too. So, yeah, awesome job by Netflix as well as Bud and Canelo.
We had a wrestling connection there too. Levy Ventura was on his media team. Does a lot of work with Jordan, does a lot of work with Virginia Tech, has some roots there. So it's really cool seeing him continue to be really successful in what he's doing, and his work is always top notch.
Yeah, and I mean, Bud Crawford also was a wrestler growing up too.
Mhm.
So he's done some interviews where he talks about, or somebody asked him like, why not go MMA? And he's like, for the same reason that I no longer want to fight MMA, I don't want to worry about getting kicked in the head anymore. So
Doesn't sound fun.
it's not. Stand in front of somebody and let's throw some punches, but I don't want to worry about getting kicked in the head or all the other things anymore. So Bud Crawford said the exact same thing. So I'm like, yeah, same, my friend, same. But he was a really good wrestler. There are some videos out there of him like throwing underhooks on guys and like wrestling guys. I mean, obviously it's for fun, but the man still has his roots. But Robbie, over to you.
Well, let's give a shout out to one of the Quad Pod's own here. Happy birthday to Claunch last week.
He didn't even
Joining the
tell us
40.
either.
He told me, I think because I'm the other old person here. So it's nice to have another 40-year-old here to bring down the youth of Holmes and Summer here.
You guys are old.
We had awesome birthday parties from what it sounded like too. So
Yeah. I'm not far off. I'll be 38 next month. So we're not too far off and far away from that. Austin, on to you.
My shout out will revolve around preseason content, and one of the best people that do preseason content is our guy Rock Harrison. He just announced, I think it was today, his schools he's going to visit for this year's, for when he does his ESPN tour. Those schools are going to be Arizona State, Nebraska, Stanford, Little Rock, Lehigh, Cornell, Bellarmine, Lock Haven, and for the first time this year, he's going to do a women's program in Life, women's wrestling program. So
Nice.
9 schools total. He's going to be hitting those teams up. Pushes out a lot of great content from him. Rock is one of the best guys in the sport. So just putting eyes on these programs, some small, some bigger ones, but going to be good stuff from him coming up here in the next few weeks.
Yeah,
Rock's a
Rock's
great
awesome.
dude, just in general.
Yeah.
He's a good human being. And like anytime I interact with him, he's always checking in on the family, and that's his concern is it was with people, and wrestling is always secondary. So he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there
I got to
hasn't
call a
been one
match with
time.
him. I got to call a match with him one time, and I had all these bruises on my arm because he's knocking into me. He's
It's like wrestling
he's so
Cenzo.
active. It's great, man. Love it.
Super active. Yeah, there hasn't been one time that I've ever like sent him a text or called him and he didn't either return it or pick up, right? So, more guys like Rock in the business are always good. And
Also, I'm working on an interview with Ashley Flavin as well, from Life. So hopefully we'll have that before him. Get ahead on that train.
there you go. Kevin, on to you.
Well, thank you, Robbie, for a quick shout out there too. On that note, my birthday was Friday last week. I took the day off, and I'm getting some stuff done around the house, trying to set up because we did my son Miles' birthday party that night, and then the next night we did my birthday party. But I wanted to give a couple shout out to some college coaches who texted me on my birthday. That was really nice of them, and definitely didn't need to do that. So shout out to Willie Miklas, now at North Dakota State. He shot me over a text for my birthday. Daniel Elliott, Gardner Webb, Robbie, you're rocking the shirt. And Frank Beasley of George Mason shot me a text as well. And so
Good people.
really good people. And it's just that much cooler when, my wife's like, "Oh, who texted you today?" And I was like, just a couple college coaches, no big deal, Oh, you met like of our family and friends? Oh, yeah, they did too. But yeah, so that was fun. So thanks to those guys.
Yeah, Beasley's
Fun
always
fact.
good for a birthday text too. I usually get one like it's really shocking too. Like when Beasley sends you a text because it's pretty rare, and so yeah, Beasley's good for a birthday text.
We're
Yeah.
gonna fight then, Frank, because I didn't get one this year.
Ooh, and Frank
Fun
was
fact
like,
though,
"Hey,
Frank and my wife have the same birthday, so
oh, they do."
I wished him a happy birthday.
Frank and
So now
his
you owe me
wife
one, Frank.
have the same birthday.
No, days apart, 1 day apart.
Is it 1 day apart?
Lindsay's birthday is the day before Frank's.
I thought they
Their
were the
kids
same
have the same
day.
birthday though. Their
That's
kids are
so
both born
weird.
the same day.
Awesome.
Bizarre.
They're an awesome family. They welcomed us into their house and
Hell yes.
made food and everything else. They're pretty awesome. Yeah.
They're going to be traveling up to Mount Pleasant this year to wrestle Central Michigan. So he told me about that too. So now I'm going to make sure I can go to that.
They're officially releasing their schedule next week, but they have a really cool duel lined up with NC State as well. George Mason and Buffalo are going down. So Donnie Vinson and Frank Beasley, former assistant coaches under Pop, are
Nice.
both taking their teams down there.
Nice. George Mason also part of the Poseidon Strength family. I heard that they are getting some Poseidon Strength equipment. I'm not sure what, to be honest. I mean, there's
Frank, did you use our code?
things. I don't think that they did because when I talked to them, they were
I'm
like,
sending
"Hey,
him
do
a
you know the
message right
coaches
now.
at George Mason?" And I was like, "Yeah, know them pretty damn well." He's like, "Yeah, I think the strength coach reached out to him. So I guess like the strength coach reached out and showed Frank everything, and they were like, "Yeah, love it, go get it." So either way, pretty excited that they are
Cancel
part
the
of
order. Have them put promo
I
code
just
in.
Oh
I just
yeah,
sent him a message and said we're fighting. So
yeah. Change your order. Use the discount code. It'll be very good to you. But let's talk some wrestling. Worlds is happening right now. Last week we talked freestyle metal hopes. I think we may have been a little off, but we still have had. I mean, not by much. I think we're at currently 4. Because SNYDER will wrestle for gold tomorrow. We already have 2 champs and a silver medalist in Levi Haynes. So I don't think we were too far off on the medals. I think we said around 6 or 7, something like that. We had some pretty high hopes, but we've had some shocking results, right? So first off, right from the top, very shocking to see Spencer Lee not place. Spencer Lee has been a favorite to at least make the finals. Let's put it that way. In just about every single tournament that he's ever wrestled in, for the most part. So to see him lose to Haratunian was very shocking. And I guess on the Spencer Lee angle, I want to see what you guys think of the talk about him maybe leaving the RTC. I don't think that it has any legs, honestly. This is nothing but like Twitter fodder, but it's, sometimes it's fun to dig into this. But like this was one of the things that had Willie really fired up to on Twitter, because people were talking about how Spencer didn't place. Do you think that he changes his RTC and everything else? And it's just like, why? For what? I think for the most part, he has everything that he needs at Iowa. And he has a good bit of the attention there as well. I don't see too many other guys getting the same kind of attention that Spencer gets. So what do you guys make of any of those rumors? Robbie, I'm going to go to you first.
he's a year removed from being an Olympic finalist.
Yeah, and I
Shut the
shouldn't say
fuck up.
rumors. I mean the trash
Just
talk, I guess.
it's
I don't even
it's
know what to
stupid.
call
Like
it.
yeah, he would benefit just as much from just training different places as you would from a change of scenery. I mean, getting out of the dungeon in Iowa City.
Yeah.
I don't think he's comfortable there. He's had success training there. I think everybody can vary from having different coaching from time to time, but to say that he needs to uproot and completely change what he's doing is a bit ridiculous. I mean, he had a bad match against Artunian. I mean, he looked great his first match, did not look good at all against Artunian, but is that a reason for him to uproot what he's been doing for the last, I guess, going on 10 years now? Like, no, that's a little excessive.
Yeah. Austin?
Yeah, I mean, that's just wrestling people for you. Their guy doesn't perform well. It's the end of the world. And coaches need to get fired. This guy needs to transfer or leave or whatever. And, his Spencer has a history of injuries, right? Let's call it what it is. Was he hurt? I don't know. It kind of maybe looked like it. He didn't look like himself, obviously, after that match. So I don't know if that's true or not, but, it could have been a knee thing. It could have been anything. Maybe he was sick. We have no freaking clue. One bad tournament doesn't mean you should get up and leave. Like you guys said, he has everything he needs there. He's Olympic silver medalist. I think he still has another few good years in him. And the way that the fan base is talking and just other rumors we're seeing, like, is he going to be the next Iowa head coach? Maybe it doesn't make sense to leave and then come back, so those are just kind of my thoughts there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Launch?
Tom did, but
Good point. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Everybody freaks out about everything else. You see some people leave, even when it's going pretty well, right? I mean, I think Burroughs, and he left for different reasons, right? He had family reasons. I think when they went down to the Penn RTC, and people make changes for their own reasons. Yeah, the panic move. No, I don't think you do that. And I think Spencer's smart enough to know, like, hey, whatever it is, it's not a matter of where I've been training for the last 10, 12 years or whatever. It's a matter of however, the last couple weeks went, or maybe he was sick, or maybe he was injured, but it's not a, shit, I need to get to Stillwater immediately. Someone get me a plane, fly me to Stillwater. Like that's not what's going to happen. Spencer.
Yeah. Like it just sounds it's so stupid, so knee jerk, so hyperbolic. Like it's ridiculous. for just even thinking it, right? And I feel like the fans are now a product of the transfer portal and NIL, where as soon as something goes wrong, they're prone to say, "Oh, gotta go, time for a change, gotta change something." It's like, or hear me out, Haratunian was the more aggressive wrestler, and he had nothing to lose and took his shots and attacked. And he attacked Spencer and scored. And that's the end of it. It doesn't need to be anything more than giving Haratunian his props. It doesn't need to be like, yeah, certainly. Could there be injuries, sickness, whatever? Sure. But like a lot of times it doesn't even need to be that. It's that guy had a better match than me. That guy had a better performance than me. It's okay that that happens. And it's not like with some of these other matches where the match was taken away from him by the refs, or like the refs got involved in any sort of way. Haratunian had a good match. He had a really good match. He ended up getting pinned in the next one, and Spencer goes 0-1 or 1-1, but like it's okay, guys. We don't need to have this knee-jerk reaction, and the same fans that want to, kind of shit all over kids who have a tough time and don't want to sit when they go to college and want to enter the transfer portal are the same ones that say that as soon as something goes wrong, man, he should go here. Maybe he needs a change, or in the same breath, when things go really, really well at a smaller place, they're like, wonder where he's going to be. A bigger school's going to come in with more money. So like everybody is now victim of this NIL transfer portal, and the fans might be the worst of it. As much as they want to shit all over it and say that every kid is jumping in the transfer portal, they're all leaving, they're all moving for money, and it's a business and this, that, whatever. The first people to say that, oh, maybe he should move are the fans. And it just doesn't make any damn sense to me. I think Spencer's going to be just fine. I think he is going to be our rep until he doesn't want to be our rep anymore, to be completely honest. I don't really see anybody domestically beating him. So let's pump the brakes. Spencer had a bad tournament. It happens. It happens to some of the best people. Sometimes they have bad tournaments. So,
well, he's not going to make any excuses, because excuses are for wusses.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The only people making excuses are the ones that are saying maybe he needs a change of scenery. So,
We should follow some of these fans around at their own personal work and say, "Oh, that email sucked. Pack your bags, buddy. You get a new company.
Time to go. I think it's time to go, right?
You weren't on it today."
Yeah. But I mean, overall, I feel like the men are wrestling very well. Even the ones that did not place. Was very impressed by PJ Duke. I think he wrestled very well. He was up 4-0 and then ultimately ended up losing. Same with Jax Fars. Jax Fars is a completely separate situation where I didn't see anything come of that. And I was at work all day, so
I haven't heard anything.
Really have time to look in at every single thing. But like, I thought that they were reviewing it today. Maybe we get something tomorrow or whatever else. But the Jax Fars situation is very bad. Very bad, because there is a cut and dry way that needs to be officiated. Singlet pulls are points. They're normally even points in folk style. So
especially when there's multiple warnings for it too. Like it wasn't a one-time thing.
Yeah.
And he got dinged for it once, but I mean, there should have been multiple singlet pull points, and then not allowing the challenge or not recognizing the challenge. Well, when Zoe was over there clearly hitting the buzzer and telling the mat chair that he was asking for a challenge, and
he should have threw the buzzer over the mat.
Should have thrown something, a chair. Gone full Bobby Knight, throw a chair on there. Like, sorry, I don't have any Angry Birds. Here's my chair.
Remember when Kale nearly threw that chair at trials, when he just like almost did it, but then just like placed it on the stage? That was
That'd have been so amazing to see him actually show something,
Yeah,
some sort of reaction.
yeah. Well, let's talk about our champs. Let's talk about today's champ first. And Robbie, I'm coming to you. Go off on Trent.
But it is 8 hours later and I'm still jacked up. Been walking around raising the roof all day. So, I mean, I would love for anybody who has the time to go back from episode 1 through 18 and count how many times I've told you guys that Trent Hiley's going to be a world champ this year. And been saying it since we saw his performance at Final X. He's been on that trajectory. He's looked fantastic internationally. He's done everything he's had to do, and he had a fantastic tournament. He, was in charge of every match he was in until the finals, and got into a hole early by being honestly probably a little over aggressive and got tipped over for 4 to start the match, and then got laced through for another one. And he was in an 0-6 hole and went down 8-0 before he was able to dig out of it. And that second 3 minutes was 100% of what you see from Trent. It's all gas, no brakes, and he's going to go through the wall until he can't go anymore. And that's exactly what we saw. This is the same guy that we saw Mike Mock break in that US-Russia duel. So we knew it was there. The potential was there. And if anybody can break somebody, Trent Hiley can break anybody. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, certainly has the ability. And to see him finally break through after so many heartbreaks and being on that second step of that podium so many times, to see him finally get through and get that belt and get that title. And I'm so excited for him, so happy for him. And I mean, he certainly earned it.
Yeah. I love how his offense translates in freestyle. It's so good. And I mean, I have to give a shout out to my man Jamil Kelly as well, who's been in his corner and has only been his coach for like a year, not even a year, and has him. I mean, it's credit to Trent, but I also know the mind of Jamil and how he breaks things down, looks at things, and the impact that he makes on wrestlers, and he's great. Couldn't be happier for both those guys. They put in the work so much, and I've been fortunate enough to be texting with Jamil throughout the tournament, and he has praised Trent's poise and just like steadfast nature of never stopping and going forward, and how hard he trains and how ready he was for everything to just come to fruition, right? And so shout out to both those guys. Trent has wrestled very well since making the transition to freestyle, and we are seeing that tremendously on this level. I mean, obviously he's a world champ, but just how he has utilized his underhook with holding center and then giving up center even when he wants to. That to me, even though we watch him control and score points and everything else, for me, it's when he's up in points and he's utilizing the danger zone, when he's just keeping one foot in the danger zone and just anchoring and scoring points still on the edge and maintaining that pressure. So very impressed by his tactics, his mat awareness. I mean, hell, he got the tech by jumping over the guy today, and he looked phenomenal. Obviously the finals match was the toughest one, but he's looked phenomenal. His offenses look great. He's weathered guys down. He's continued to use his underhook to perfection, and I think it works on anybody. Put it that way, anyone. Robbie,
I think,
excuse me, Claunch.
big credit to Zach Esposito too. I think he's played a huge role in some of the freestyle development, especially in being more offensive on the underhook. And since he's been in Raleigh, I think we've seen some pretty significant gains from Trent on that side too.
Yeah, that Oklahoma State coaching tree that is now in NC State is flourishing.
It was cool to see them all there too, because Pat and Zach were both there.
Well, and this is a point that Robbie has been saying once again every time he's had a chance to talk about Trent, which is this how much he's added to his offense from that underhook. And you very, very, very much saw it today. He needed all of those different things he was doing. He was working to a double leg. He had kind of a duck thing he was hitting every once in a while. It was just a really diverse set of attacks, either just from that underhook or a result of people kind of like shutting that side down, and then he attacks the other side. So very, very impressive to see what he's been able to do with a style that already, like, we already knew it was going to translate really well to freestyle just based on the rules and how aggressive he is. But he's still been able to add some pretty dynamic stuff with that. So super impressive.
Yeah. Austin?
Yeah, I think he's a prime example of, entrusting the training and trust yourself, trusting the people around you. Just today, for example, he was down 8-0, like you guys said, and came back and won. Just that second period came out firing. Didn't really change much, changed his finishes here and there, but stuck with that underhook attack. It kept working. And then this guy never won an NCAA title, and now he's a world champion. That he easily could have said, I can't achieve my goals here. I'm going to go somewhere else. But no, he stuck to it, and now he's a freaking world champ because he trusted people around him. He trusted himself, which is probably even more important at this point. But it's a great example of, hey, stick with what you got, stick with the people around you, because good things are going to happen as long as you keep grinding this stuff out and believing in yourself. You're going to achieve your dreams. And the other thing I have on this is if he goes down to 86, him and Valencia, 2 world champs, going to be battling for an Olympic spot in a few years, which could get really, really interesting. We kind of had this situation with Dakin Burrows a while back too.
Trent
Maybe
would
that's
be
where Spencer
absolutely
should transfer.
massive.
Is he going to go up, you think, Robbie?
I would think he'd probably go up.
Yeah, I think
he
so
would be a
too.
massive 86.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way,
I
him and
think
Snyder then. It's still a pretty good battle. Even though Snyder's a little bit older here now, but
got the hair advantage for sure.
Yeah, I think he goes up. And I tell you what, the thing I'm really looking forward to now is how NC State parties on the football field, because if Pop is popping a top,
he took his shirt off for Vince.
Vince
got to keep his pants off. He's going to get arrested at the next game.
I hope listen. Pop,
easy.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you're watching this right now. However, I'm gonna get this to you somehow. Even if I text you, I might have to send you a text. You need to wear a singlet on the mat on the field to celebrate Trent's world title. It's the next step. You already took the shirt off. The next step is for you to have a tearaway velour Adidas tracksuit with a singlet on underneath. That is the way to go. It needs to happen.
He could even wear the polo under it and really go.
I was just gonna say that, yeah.
With the whole high
full on. It's what needs to happen. That's how you celebrate it.
That's fair. I would travel to Raleigh to watch that game, even though their football team is not good. Not as terrible as Virginia Tech's right now, but that's kind of bottom of the barrel.
True.
So on that note, Austin, and I'll repost this. I posted it after Vinny's match in the semifinals, but I was standing right behind Trent while he was watching Vince in the semifinals, and just seeing how amped up he was for somebody who's honestly wasn't even his teammate at that point. It was Trent wasn't on the team, but seeing how amped up he was for somebody who, he's considers a teammate, but somebody's in a program with, who nowhere near his weight class. He doesn't work with him directly, but seeing how excited and happy he was for, somebody in his program to have success. That's the kind of person that Trent is. And the whole Heidley family's like that, but that's why I think so many people are so excited for Trent right now, is because he's such a good person. And you see that in his interactions with throughout the sport. He's the same way, but it's nice to see him finally break through and get that success that he has clearly worked his ass off for.
Yeah, he has been perpetually second place since Fargo, losing to Aaron Brooks, and continuously making the finals and losing to Aaron Brooks. And it's a testament to the depth that we have here in the United States. A lot of people, us included, made a mention of no JB, no Dake, no David Taylor in the lineup for the first time in however long, and we replaced them with 2 world champs, and Levi Haynes, who
Another
was in the world
finalist.
finals, 3
Mhm.
finalists, right? So like, just incredible. And then you go with David Carr. I mean, Carr was right there,
So was
beating
Jax.
Sidikov, and was just super close to bringing home a medal as well. So it's a testament to our depth, and I think we're going to be in very good hands, because I don't see any of these guys going anywhere for quite some time. It is going to make, as it normally does, but it's going to make the Olympics so much crazier. Um, and I mean, even years to come, right? We're gonna have to be looking at Carter Starachi in these brackets, as well as Aaron Brooks with whatever is decided there, on his suspension, and if it's truly going to be 3 years, something that I know we haven't really talked about yet, but we have tremendous depth that is being shown right now on the world stage. But let's talk about
Well,
the other world champs as well. But yeah, Claunch, take it away.
real quick, I mean, like, it's new people, but it's not a new thing. You know what I mean? Like, we had depth 5-6 years ago in the exact same way. They just were named, Jordan Burroughs and Kyle Dake and David Taylor and Jaden Cox and Kyle Snyder, like straight through those weight classes. So, again, it just talks to how consistent USA Wrestling has been with putting out, like, there's a reason why we sat here. We're like, are we going to win 6 or 7 medals?
Yeah.
Like, because it's not bullshit. Like, it's happened before, and
And that's become the expectation, and that says a lot.
For sure. So, not to take away anything from these new guys, because man, it's been fun. God, it's almost more rewarding when you're like, God, I really wanted to see Zahid have that chance and see what he can do with it, and to actually watch him get it done. Same with Trent, and so, and shit, even just seeing Levi make the world finals was great. What was it, a year ago?
Yeah,
He
it was
was losing to
awesome.
Facundo in a freestyle match, like,
Mhm.
not to take anything away from Facundo, but I'm just trying to illustrate how far that guy's come too. So, very impressive stuff. It's super exciting for us.
Yeah, Claunch, continue the conversation with Zahid, right? What do you make of his performance? I mean, obviously it's incredible, but like, to see Zahid say the things that he said, on the podcast with me, and then go out and actually truly like execute it.
Dude, you can be the baddest motherfucker on the planet, but still give up a point, and he didn't do that. 49-0. Like, that's pretty damn good. I mean, he's always so offensive. He's always so high pace and high energy. I think we've brought it up here before, like, oh, the gas tank might be the only thing that holds him back. And it's like, okay, well, if he gets that figured out, then what? Right. And clearly he had that figured out for this tournament. He was ready to go. And then it's also tough because it's like, you kind of say it out of the side of your mouth, and it's like, oh, his gas tank sucks. It's like, he also goes 100% every match,
Match.
So like, you kind of will run out of gas sometimes if that's your approach. But anyway, I'm just super pumped for him. I'm super pumped for David Taylor. I mean, it's got to be hard to walk away, whenever you decide to retire. But like, for David to at least be able to bring in a guy like that, coach him up, get him ready to go, and then watch him have that success too. But yeah, super pumped for Zahid. And yeah, I'm excited to see what he's not going anywhere. He's still young. He's probably in his prime, probably right now. So let's run this quad through.
Yeah, I think he mans 86 for a while. It's if he continue. I mean, from the way it looks, his toughest competition is domestic. It's Dake, it's Starachi, right? It's Keckeisen, it's those guys. So again, testament to our depth. But like, man, I tell you what, when I was on that podcast with him and hearing him say those things, I'm like, man, like, there's no reason to be humble, but like, you don't hear wrestlers talk like that. You don't. At least not on camera, right? Like, there's been a number of times that I'm sure we've talked to guys where, it's either in the tunnel at NCAAs or whatever else, they're joking, but like, Zahid truly believes it, and he walks it like he talks it. So for me, that was the most incredible thing. But then, when I posted the clip to our social of, him saying he's the baddest motherfucker on the planet, and then I like watched the whole clip, of what like his game plan was, and then watching his final match, and like I was like, I have to put this shit side by side. Like he literally says the things he's going to do and goes out and does them. You know, like there's a number of guys that will talk a big game and not show up or not execute. Zahid is executing. You know, I had a friend of mine say, Zahid looks a lot like David Taylor. I'm like, I feel like he's always looked like David Taylor when he wrestles, but like they're probably seeing it more now that David's in his corner. But I feel like they've always had very similar styles, which is why their match that they had went the way that it did, right? Like they've always been very similar. And I think that's always been the issue. I think the only difference is that Taylor might used to hand fight more than Zahid. Will fire off shots more from the outside than David Taylor did. But the single leg, like all like those shots are very similar. Their finishes very similar. So it's a match made in heaven to have David Taylor and Zahid working together, and I feel like that's going to continue on down the line. Austin, your thoughts on Zahid's performance?
Yeah, I mean, you guys nailed on the head. Nope, didn't give up any freaking points. Crushed everybody. The thing that I was just kind of thinking about now, we talked about Spencer Lee, rumored, not even rumored, just people saying he should leave. You look at Valencia, this is a kind of example like that, where he was kind of right there, right there. And then now he's at the Cowboy RTC. Seems like he really jumped another level, and now he's a freaking world champ. Would that have happened if he was still in Tempe? Maybe, probably, right? But, we don't know that. So this is just an example of when guys find a new home, kind of get what they want, and then boom, they're jumping levels and becoming world champs. So, it's maybe it's not for everybody, but this is just one example you can point at and say, hey, he made a move, he committed to it, and boom, now he's really flourishing in his new home.
I will say though, with the Arizona State thing, there was a lot of there's nobody there anymore.
There was a lot of changes going on too.
They
I feel
literally
like that
just
move
started
was
a
kind of
new-
needed for
new
him.
RTC.
Everyone left.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was like, you had to make a change at that point.
Mhm.
I also think there's something to be said about him having a high level coach that's his size. And I mean, Zeke's a great coach and Pritz are great coaches, but I mean, being able to work one-on-one with David Taylor every day when he's literally the weight class that you're competing in and has had success at the highest level. I mean, there's not much better opportunity to improve than to be working with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no coincidence that I'm pretty sure he won his NCAA title with Pendleton.
Yeah.
Right? So like having a guy that is your size that you can work with. And like I said, I had a chance to watch those guys wrestle. They used to beat the hell out of each other. And it was a reason why I believe Zahid was as ready as he was, because he had Pendleton there, and it was a guy that it was his size or even bigger that could show him just how to bully people essentially back then. So yeah, I mean, no coincidence, right? He gets a guy that's his size and multiple guys that are his size. You got to think that he's doing some sort of footwork with Wyatt Hendrickson, even though they're so far away in weight class. But like, you got to think that those guys are working together. You got to think that, he even said on that pod was like, him and David Taylor haven't gone live in a while, but when they do, he's, it's a good go, right? It's a good feel, probably the best in the world, essentially. So yeah, I mean, that's a good point of having the right partners for sure.
Well, and you got Hamity there, you've got Braden Thompson, you've got like no shortage of dudes that size to get a good workout in with. So good stuff.
Yeah, very impressed by our world champs, obviously. Being down 8-0 and coming back and winning a world title and then going unscored upon is pretty incredible. The other man that made the finals but came up a little bit short is Levi Haynes, and the guy he wrestled in the finals was probably the best defensive wrestler I've seen in a while. Like, just hand fight. Like, I mean, call what you want. Yes, it looks like stalling and everything else, and Levi is taking so many shots and trying to get in and can't get to a leg, and just needs one crisp shot to get in, and he can't do it. But Austin, what did you make of not just Levi's final, but his entire run, right? Like this is what his first senior world championships, and he makes it to the finals.
Yeah, I watched actually a lot of his matches, and I was really impressed with his movement. It kind of reminded me of David Taylor-esque, where he was kind of on one hand, dropping to the ankle, switching sides, really pulling that head. And it doesn't seem like a lot in the first period, but that second period comes around and he kind of wears those guys out a lot. You kind of saw that, I think it was the semifinal match or maybe that quarterfinal match where he wrestled the Russian, Usmanov. Just kind of wore him down, and these guys just can't really move much at the end of the match because he's doing so much faking and pressuring forward. So I think his movement is really, really good. He's looking fantastic. Again, another guy didn't win an NCAA title this year. He got third, right? And then ends up second at Worlds. So I think the other thing too is we are so blessed and lucky to have such good NCAA wrestling right now. These guys, like I said, third place NCAA, second at Worlds. That doesn't usually happen, so I think USA wrestling on the freestyle side and NCAA wrestling side is in a really good spot right now. And people that find reasons to complain, kind of sucks, but it is what it is. We're in a really good spot.
Plus, it's really hard to win a world title, guys.
Yeah,
It's just really hard to do.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robbie?
Unless you're Zahid Valencia.
Yeah. Robbie?
I mean, I going into it, he was one of the guys that we weren't sure what to expect and what we were going to see out of him. And he was gritty. He was, in it every match until the end. I mean, that was the quarters or semis with Usmanov. I don't remember.
Quarters. He had to fight
And
through a ton of bullshit in that match.
Yeah, that was, what one of the other things that we fight through in the world championships. We saw that a lot with SNYDER today, just some fucking egregious calls or non-calls in Usmanov's case. And Haynes was able to fight through it and get that last second takedown to take the lead and punch his way through. So, I mean, it says a lot about his character to be able to keep his composure and get through that and still get the results. But it's hard to not walk away being very impressed and happy with the finish that Haynes had. When you compare that, especially when you compare that like to Spencer Lee or Wyatt Hendrickson, who people were really pumped up about and were expecting big things, and we didn't get those results. So it's excellent to see Haynes have that success.
Hold on.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. He's an absolute beast. I didn't get to watch too much of his matches, to be completely honest with you, but like, I'm surprised he made it. I'm surprised he did it. I mean, like Austin said, you don't really oftentimes, not to take away from what I thought he was going to be able to do, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because like the names we've had at the 79 the last couple of years, right? It's not a Dake, it's not a Burroughs, it's not those guys where you just like, oh yeah, well that guy's gonna make the finals or that guy's gonna get a medal at least. But it's super encouraging. And again, we're kind of going through these new names, getting into these weight classes, and just gotta start accepting the fact that these are the usual suspects we should start to be expecting to see on the scene. So very cool. It'll be interesting to see what. I feel like anytime these guys who still have college eligibility win a medal and then come back to college, like there's just that extra boost of like maybe the Zahid Valencia moxie, like I've got this shit. Like these guys were in a college singlet. I just beat the shit out of some dude from Kyrgyzstan. Like let's go. So I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do.
Yeah, you guys are right though. Like it's not taking anything away from Levi. I just think that with it being his first world championships, we didn't know what to expect. I mean, hell, same thing was said about PJ Duke and Jax Forrest. I think we had some confidence in them that they could, but we weren't sure how they would stack up against grown ass men, right? Like that's the hard part for us. And then with Levi, obviously it was a little bit of being a novice on that level. We had seen Trent wrestle in a number of international tournaments. We've seen him at, obviously we have seen Haynes at U23s, but that was like a pretty long time ago. It wasn't that recent. So I believe that it was more so we just didn't know what to expect from him. And as he wins, you're not surprised that he's winning. It's just more so of, yes, he is a guy that can be a perennial in this weight class, or at 74 if he decides to drop to 74 for the Olympics, right? So like he is one of those guys that, and you would think that it's just more so of how does he stack up on the world stage, because guys like David Carr, for instance, right? When you see that Carr loses a match, and I was one of those guys, I'm like, man, I don't have a good feeling about Sidikov losing in the semis. I think this is kind of the demise for Carr. Carr was what, 0.5 seconds away from beating Sidikov, like dangerously close to winning that match, and gets sucker dragged and ends up losing. But like overall, each one of our guys was very and has been very impressive. We still have, as I said, Real Woods and Kyle Snyder left to go in Snyder in the finals, Real Woods and Repechage. But like the men's freestyle team, call it what you want. I know people are pissed off about Spencer didn't place and Jax Forrest with the singlet pull, which we're still, I guess, waiting to hear the finalization of that, and PJ Duke losing his match as well, and Wyatt Hendrickson not looking, I guess, the part for what we expected. There was a lot of people expecting him to face off against Zare, and it didn't happen. And I'm guessing that
he should transfer.
yeah,
He should leave.
I'm
Get out of
guessing
Stillwater.
yeah, right. Because of him beating Gable Steveson, it really raised the bar. So people were like, well, if he beats Gable, he's got to be a title threat. And he wasn't. But it's just back to the drawing board. But either way, like still very impressed with each one of our guys on the men's freestyle side. Real Woods, definitely another one of those guys that for us were in the Levi Haynes boat of we didn't really know what to expect. And people even like the foreign guys on Twitter were like, does Real Woods have any other experience wrestling on the world level? Like they're like, we can't find a thing about this guy, right? So
Neither can
just
we.
very impressed by any of those guys. Any other thoughts on men's freestyle?
My thing about Haynes, just kind of thinking to see where Kyle Dake fits into this picture. We were kind of questioning Dake went up from 74 up to 86. Kind of rare to move up 2 weight classes. Now seeing how good Levi Haynes did at Worlds, I wonder if there was any factor of those two wrestling in the room and Dake deciding, you know what, I like my chance at 86 better, or was it simply not one to cut the weight? I'm sure it's the latter, but just seeing what Haynes is capable of, maybe that was kind of the plan to begin with, and the Lehigh Wrestling Club didn't want anyone messing with Levi's. This is his spot. I don't know, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I think one, it was definitely a weight cut that you probably didn't want to do anymore. I mean, Dake is not young anymore, but I also feel like he's trying to set himself up for the Olympics as well with going 86 and trying to get a feel for these foreign guys at the weight and potentially obviously place and then kind of be in the driver's seat for the quad, right? So I would imagine him and Levi Haynes probably wrestle in the room. Who knows who wins, right? We never know any of those things, but I
But
think
they're
it was
both in the
more
room right now.
yeah, yeah. There are a couple of places that there are some guys that are in the room training right now that we'll probably get to at some point. But I think that for Dake it was more so a weight cut and an Olympic trying to set himself up for the quad more so than a Levi Haynes thing. I don't think that. I mean, in that match, I believe that it's still Dake over Levi Haynes, and it was more
You would
so.
imagine, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's still Dake. It's still Dake in that match. I think Dake would have been our rep at 79 had he chose to go 79. I just think it was more of an Olympic thing, and because you're older, why the hell do I want to cut weight? I want to go up and get my body ready for the Olympics on the quad. Let's pivot away from wrestling a little bit and talk Gable Steveson. So Gable Steveson had his MMA debut, and him and Mitch McKee fought on the same card at LFA over the weekend. Shout out to my friend Carissa Miller, who did a ton of really, really good content. And she's what does she do? She's the sideline reporter, I guess, for LFA. Just talking to her over the weekend after LFA, and she's like, Gable's going to be very, very good, like going to be absolutely awesome. She's been in the MMA game for a very long time, so I trust her word on those things. But she was able to interview both Mitch and Gable as well as John Jones while she was there, and um, Gable's fight went about exactly as I expected. Takedown, ground and pound, you're done in 98 seconds, right?
Absorb no damage.
Yeah, like it went just about exactly as expected, as you do when you are a wrestler in your first fight. You utilize your takedown skills and your ability to wrestle, and then you throw your hands. So I think, like I said, it went as about as expected. The only thing for me that and that Gable did do that we've seen other wrestlers do, or at least people with a wrestling background, is forget their wrestling in some of these fights where they're like, I can throw hands now. I'm gonna go out there and try and showcase my boxing. And it's like, guys, like, for what? The name of the game is to finish fights and win.
Right.
Like, go take him
You
down
have
and
the ability
beat
to
his ass.
control 90% of what happens if you take them to the mat.
Yeah. Now, on the UFC side of things, when you're up against a guy like Bo Nickel was, where even though you have the advantage as the wrestler, the other guy has the advantage on the mat in the first place. So you don't want to take it there, as we've seen with some guys. So, but now the Gable the Gable fight went as expected. The guy that I was super impressed with was Mitch McKee. That dude, dynamite.
That
in his
guy's been
hands.
fantastic. Yeah.
He was throwing hard. What do you guys make of both these fights, and what do you think their ceiling could be? Think that we have a future of these guys being in the UFC someday? Claunch, I'll start with you.
McKee for sure, dude. I mean, we were talking earlier about Trent and how his style translates so well to freestyle. Mitch McKee's wrestling, I feel like, translates really well. I mean, he always had that front like choke thing that he
That
could
head
do.
pinch,
I mean,
yeah.
oh my God, that was nasty, even in college. And so, just to get that, I mean, he's got big forearms. He's compact. He seems to be able to take a punch, which I think is one of the bigger, more underrated pieces of like wrestlers transitioning. Is like, if you don't have a chin, like you're kind of fucked. Like at some point,
Yeah.
someone's going to punch you in the face and you're going to drop, and then your career is kind of, the cliff notes are out on how to stop you. Anyway, he looks fantastic. I think he absolutely can keep going. I like to think Gable can too. I'm really impressed with how he won that match and in the fashion that he won that match. But the most damning shit that could have happened was they were like, hey, here's a clip of the guy that Gable's about to fight. And I watched the clip and I'm like, is he fighting like a homeless guy? Like, did they find a fat homeless guy and throw him in the
Bum
ring to fight
fights.
this guy? Jesus, dude. I'm like, well, now I'm like, oh, well, this guy's a loser and Gable's just going to kill him. And he did. So, God, I'm just like, and I know like you can't just throw them into like the toughest people right away. Like you have to give them some of these like, cream puff
Hands.
dudes to fight. Yeah, like, and man, he beat the living shit out of that guy. But
He
hey,
probably
more
fought
power
worse
to
than you
him.
did on Sunday.
He probably did. He probably did. Yeah. I
Yeah.
slept in pretty late. I like to think he did too.
Yeah.
Yours probably was not a result of as much brain damage, though.
Yeah.
No.
Very true. Correct. I said Carissa Miller, who's a girl I went to college with. Carissa Maxwell is who's the reporter for LFA. Who did really, really great content. I actually had her on my other podcast and did an interview with her. She's really awesome. Austin, your thoughts on the MMA debut of Gable as well as Mitch McKee putting in that work?
Yeah, well, McKee is, I think, looking at his profile here, 10-0 pro fights. So definitely off to a good start. I love the nickname Merciless. you know, kind of goes with his style. But yeah, I mean, Gable went about as you expected. Like you said, just stick to wrestling Gable. Don't overcomplicate it. Yeah, I don't know why wrestlers try and keep that for when they need it. It's like you kind of need it right away. Just get out there, take the guy down.
Yeah.
It may not be exciting. Some guys might, some fans couch fans might not like that, but screw them. Go out, dominate the match, and dominate the fight and get out of there. So
It's also not a secret that you were a wrestler. Like,
yeah,
he
yeah,
probably,
I
the guy
think,
you're facing probably trained a lot with takedown defense.
yeah,
Like, so
You couldn't tell by watching the match.
no, obviously not. But let's face it, there's no reason to hide those things. Like, go out and fight. I feel like, and this was talked about a lot when Pico made his debut. Pico was obviously a fighter growing up, but like a lot of people were like, you spent so much time wrestling your most of your life, and then you went out and tried to like box more. And he even said, he's like, I kind of made it a point to do that. I wanted to showcase, my boxing. And it's like, why? Like, you are probably better. You're definitely a better wrestler than these guys. And MMA wrestling is, honestly, it's a little bit easier than regular wrestling. So I don't know, very different. Robbie, your thoughts on the MMA cage fights of Gable and Mitch McKee?
I mean, Gable looked great, but we expected exactly what we saw. So it'd be nice to see him against somebody who stands a little bit more of a chance. But it's good with him. It's going to come back to the same thing. Like if we are going to see him be successful long term, he has to commit and do the things he needs to do. And we haven't seen him do that with anything yet. So we have to see like a full time commitment. If anybody's talking about UFC, he's going to have to bust his ass in LFA or moving up the ranks to get to that spot. So love to see it. I'd love to have him be successful in it, and he's certainly got the tools for it. But he's got to have more than one fight for me to really get too jazzed up about it. McKee looked great. I think Claunch kind of hit it nail on the head. He's got the tools. His style translates really well. I think he'll definitely has a chance to move up pretty quickly. I'd like to see kind of he reminds me of what we're seeing from Archie Colgan a lot, and he's had a great transition as well. So the more guys we can get in the ring, having more opportunities, the better off we're going to be. And I mean, nothing but positives to take away from both of those fights.
Yeah, and I was really glad that Gable didn't throw any kicks. In some of
Not
the
with his
like,
turf toe.
I mean, in some of the, yeah, right. In some of those, well, I mean, apparently there was no turf toe, but in some of those clips that he was posting of his training, he's throwing punches and kick combos, and I'm like, man, I am hopeful that that is just for the video. I am not to say that he can't kick or anything else, but it's just like, again, why? But speaking
Just
of,
walks out, drop kicks him right in the chest.
right, right, just something absolutely wild and off the wall. But speaking of UFC, make sure you guys are tuning in tomorrow, or I should say tonight, when you listen to this, because it'll be Tuesday. We're recording on a Monday. You're watching ESPN because Tommy Gant will be part of the Dana White Contender Series. I believe
Hell
he's
yeah.
fighting today, and his fight is tomorrow, or at least, like I said, tonight on Tuesday. So make sure you are keeping the Wolfpack love on the up and up as Tommy Gant gets into the cage, and hopefully he gets that win and gets signed to the UFC. And why not keep the Wolfpack talk going as we move into new coaches? Announced today, Monday, that Ed Scott is going to be headed off to UVU to join his old coach Adam Hall. Robbie, you probably were privy to this information before it came out, but your thoughts on the move by Ed Scott?
I think it's great. Ed's going to be a great coach. He saw it a lot in his leadership in the room and working with the younger guys. I think his technique has always been a little different, but very successful. And I think he's going to be able to communicate that well and be a good asset to Adam's staff. I mean, joins Timmy McCall out there too. So there's a lot of Wolfpack love going around out there. But I mean, we saw how successful they were last year. I'm excited to see Ed get a chance in coaching and not a lot of better people to do it under than Adam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I remember Ed Scott winning a title, a state title he I think it was like maybe his junior year. Throws a
He
lefty
headlocked him.
headlock. Yeah, throws a lefty headlock, pins him, and he was a pretty like timid kid back then, and so it was like really cool to kind of see him grow up with being at NC State and kind of come out of his shell and everything and become a leader that he was.
Still a
Um,
pretty quiet guy, but
Still a pretty quiet guy, but it's it was for him to become a leader at NC State was really awesome, really cool. Um, on to Austin, so Lehigh, I hate to put it like this, but like this was one of the things that we were like waiting to talk about for the longest. Cenzo is headed to Lehigh, where he's literally been in the room for a while. Austin, your thoughts on the Cenzo move?
Great move, obviously. Getting a lot of experience in there. Um, heard heard through the grapevine he's really good coaching wise with the X's and O's stuff. Really good at recruiting. Um, just another Pennsylvania guy, west side of the state coming on to the east side. Joining Lehigh, I think it's a good fit for them. Especially in the middle lineup there where they have, a guy like Brignola coming off a red shirt who beat a guy like Julian Ramirez last year, who had a bunch of really good wins in his red shirt year coming back. Definitely gonna be scrapping with him. And, Lehigh's, I don't want to say they're weak points, but they're not so strong points have been 74, 84, kind of in that range. And Cenzo kind of fills that gap pretty well here, along with Coach Dillon, who's been there for a while. So just get a fresh face in there, someone new, a lot of experience, and has kind of been at the biggest stage, at Penn State, winning national titles and things like that. So great ad for them. And there'll be more coming down the pipeline in the Lehigh room, I should say, in the next week or two here. So little teaser for everyone out there. Expect something more from the Lehigh room in the
big
next,
news, you could
like I
say.
said, week. Yeah, big news.
Yeah. It sucks that Cenzo holds such a grudge on Darian Cruz for beating him at 103 pounds at the Beast of the East that he waited for Darian to leave in order to go to Lehigh. Pretty
Yeah.
shitty. No, just kidding. Claunch, what do you make of the Cenzo move to Lehigh?
I'm a huge fan. I mean, he's moved around to a couple different places to coach, which I'm typically a fan of. He's been under really, really, really great coaches. I think he was at Stanford.
He followed
with
Cole, yeah. He was
Yeah, it was
with
Yeah, he was
Cole.
with Cole at
Stanford with
Stanford and
Cole.
then went to UNC.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, but like I like that. If you go to different places, you get different perspective, you get different ideas. You can then kind of make them your own. Obviously, we know 4-time NCAA finalist, 2-time champ, like absolute freaking stud on the mat. God, I gotta, every once in a while before the season starts, I try to put some matches on and rewatch them again. And it's crazy. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago about like, oh, what matches would you like to rewatch if you didn't know like what the outcome would be? And none of us said like Vincenzo Joseph versus Alex Marinelli. Like those matches were so much fun to watch. But no, in general, like being a coach, he'll be great. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple more years you have some success with Lehigh, some other programs open up, and he gets his own head coaching job.
Yeah.
Not a surprising thing that he is a great recruiter. I met him in Detroit once. I think I literally just yelled, "Hey, Vincenzo, I'm a big fan of yours. Just want to let you know that. See you later." He was like leaving, and I wanted to go talk to him, and I was like, not a good time to do it. Anyway, he's cool.
Yeah.
Big gulps, huh? Well, see you later.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It was like, hey, man, like you're leaving. I'm a big fan of yours. Just thought you should know. He was like, oh, thanks, man. Really receptive. And that was it.
Yeah, Chen's is awesome. Last coaching move, back over to Robbie. The ACC is getting another coach as well.
Yeah, they finally made it official this week. Kind of talked about it a couple weeks ago that UVA was looking for a new assistant after Ian Parker went to UNI, and they are bringing back Michael Battista, who graduated 2 years ago, and he is going to start competing again as well. So they're going to have him on the mat with the upper weights. I mean, I think it's a good move. Somebody who's familiar with the program, comfortable with UVA and the recruiting to get into a more difficult school to get into. I think that'll be beneficial for them. Gives Steve somebody else he feels comfortable with a kind of short notice hire. close to the season. So I think it'll be a good move. Mike's a great guy, the Virginia native, and I think he knows the state well and will be good for recruiting.
Yeah. Coaching moves are not done yet either. We'll have a little bit more coaching. It's not really a move, but there's some other coaching news, I guess I should say, next week that we'll be discussing. It's something that we've already seen happen. So same situation, different school. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Still more and more coaching. I'm guessing more coaching changes that will happen before the season starts. But I think a lot of these guys that are finding new homes are finding really good fits, and being able to join programs to make a really big impact. Um, and speaking of finding a new home, Bo Bassett has now taken 2 trips to Nebraska, and people are, as we do. I mean, we started this conversation tonight talking about Twitter fodder, and we're going to end it talking about Twitter fodder as people are talking about Bo Bassett taking his 2nd trip to Nebraska. Do you guys feel like this has some legs? Is it a huge deal, or is it more so just Nebraska really kind of throwing as much as they can at Bo Bassett to have him in their lineup? Robbie, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't remember the rules and logistics of how visits and official visits work, but his official visit was 2 weeks ago. So this was just
Yeah.
a trip out there. I don't know what capacity that's in or how any of that works, but he was at the game with some of the Nebraska wrestlers, and they watched an ass woman against Houston Christian, who I didn't even know had a team. So that was interesting. But I mean, from everything that we hear, there's kind of 2 leaders in the clubhouse. It's between Nebraska and Virginia Tech, and Nebraska is certainly putting every egg in that basket, trying to get Bo and Melvin and Keegan on board. And it seems from what I hear, it seems they're leaning that direction. And Nebraska's certainly putting full court press on to get them there.
I think it's a good fit, honestly.
My only concern is having him and AJ in the same room, and if there's enough
Atmosphere.
capacity for that's my only concern with it. And I don't know how big of an issue will be with AJ theoretically being there only for a year, but we'll see how that works out.
Yeah. Whatever it is, people are going to be glued to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a
Whatever it
reality
is.
TV show.
It really is. So if you get 2 of the most attention grabbing wrestlers in the NCAA in your room, people are going to want to watch. They're going to want to see what's going on. And I think it'll be really good for the fan base. I mean, Nebraska already has a very good fan base, to be completely honest. And I think that having these 2 guys, if they were able to, I mean, just speaking of Bo and AJ, I think it puts the butts in the seats. And that's ultimately what you want to do when you're a program. You want to grow and you want to have guys in your room that aren't just winners, but also can be marketable these days. And whether it's good marketing, like we've seen a lot with Bo, or it's bad marketing, like we've seen in the past with AJ Ferrari, and kind of why people want to watch him to see what's he going to do next. It's all must see TV, man. It's really what it is. Really what it is. Claunch, your thoughts on Bo Bassett's trips to Nebraska?
Well, if he's able to fly there pretty consistently whenever he wants, that's going to bode well for Nebraska.
It's because the RTC rules have changed. That's something else we
Right.
haven't spoken about
Call
yet.
it the Bo Bassett rule.
Yeah. But no, in general, like, yeah, this is something. You know, it's that's a pretty far trip, right? And nobody that I know of has ever just intentionally been like, yeah, let me just like go to Nebraska
Yeah.
again.
Hey, watch your tongue.
I'm gonna go to Lincoln.
Right.
They have
but
like
no,
3 gates at the airport. It's a huge.
3.
It's not very big. You probably flew it down there.
No, in general, like, I mean, yeah, this is something I think we all have kind of heard more or less that this is probably where he'll end up. And I don't know. I'm not. I just want it to be over. I'm just ready to watch him wrestle some more. That's what I want to watch. Let's just get the kid somewhere so he can get on a mat and do
He's
some
still
of
in
that
high
fun
school,
stuff.
so that's not going to happen yet.
Yeah. So like, how long is this? Why? I don't know why I care. It's honestly, maybe that's it. I know he's a big recruit, but it's like, Jesus Christ, dude, we've been doing this shit for like 18 months. Fucking stop.
The question becomes, is it going to continue with the other two, or does the Bo signing kind of limit the circus that goes along with Melvin and Keegan?
The other two, from what I've seen, have not done anything nearly as consistently posting about their stuff and everything, like, so I
Yeah.
hope that this is not going to be there's not going to be a 2.0 version of this. But I don't know.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it before. I'm kind of on the fence because it's new. It's a new style in wrestling. It's not something that we have seen. Other sports get this all the time. If you pay attention to the football recruiting or the basketball recruiting, it's like this times a million. So like, I'm not going to fault Bo or his family or anything. Like, more power to you, right? Like, I think, like Kevin, there are people that are just like, shit, dude, like, make up your mind, right? Like, where are we going? Let us know.
And I've been generally pro the whole thing,
Yeah.
like, for the most part. But I'm just like, right now, I'm like, God,
It's
does
gone
2
on for a
trips
very
to
long
Nebraska
time.
in 2 weeks mean something? Yeah, it probably does. He's gonna go there. So commit. I don't know. I don't know what else. I don't know what else there is.
Yeah, the recruiting world it's wild. It's just crazy these days, right? Like, I am all for getting a new marketing style, getting eyes on wrestling, building your brand, NIL. I'm all for those things if done in the right vein, which is who's to say what the right vein is. But things like this, I guess it has been dragging on for a while, and that's why it does get exhausting at a certain point, because no one else we've never seen this before. Any other guy that has been a high level recruit, call it Gable Steveson, Dayton Fix, Spencer Lee, Zahid Valencia, Anthony Valencia, like any of the guys that we've seen in the past. And obviously that was a different time when they were being recruited. But, Mark Hall, I think, was probably the biggest recruit with anything, right? Flo had the documentary of the Prodigy and this and that, and we did his commitment live from his school as well as Dayton's live from his school. But like, this is different. This just is different in every aspect, to the point where actually their their announcements were done on a bigger scale. I believe like Bo Bassett just kind of like called
After a
it,
match.
yeah, like did it at the match and everything else. Like, there was a production for both Dayton and Mark Hall as part of them. So like, it was
Wasn't there a marching band for Marks?
maybe I don't remember that, but I know it was like done in his school auditorium. He was up on stage. He was, basically like he was giving the valedictorian speech, and he made his commitment. Dayton Fix, there was a cowboy cake, and like
Sounds delicious.
I believe Piles was at both of them, to do interviews, like live interviews with them, and we streamed it and everything else. Like, these were very big deal back then. I feel like Bo Bassett the commitment is on a bit of a smaller scale, but the marketing and the ramp up is a million times bigger, right? We were doing different things for those guys in the past, but like the Bo Bassett approach to this is not something we've ever seen in wrestling. So I get the exhaustion because none of those
It's
ever
covered 2 presidencies.
lasted this long, but it's been a lot. It really has been a lot. So, you know, I hope that wherever he commits to next, he gets the things that he wants. He's satisfied. Him as well as his family are satisfied with the things that he is getting and the support that he is getting and the training partners, the perks, all the bells and whistles, right? I hope it is the biggest and baddest, rarest steak that he can ever get with all the trimmings. That is what I'm hopeful for.
We get to talk
But
about steaks again?
no, I don't think we need to talk about steaks again. But I did try and make that tie-in because his new teammate would potentially be the person that would have the steak hookup. But yeah, I just think it is a big deal that he has gone there twice. I just don't know how exhausted people are with it. Are people like Claunch and they're like, shit or get off the pot, man? Like what the hell? So
Yeah, I was just
there's-
looking back at
I feel
his.
like that there's an ACC team in the mix. Like I'm still done with it.
yeah. Austin, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was looking back at his original Final Four before he committed to Iowa. It was Iowa, Oklahoma State, Penn State, and Rutgers, I
Virginia
think, were his
Tech.
top 4.
Virginia Tech.
Or Virginia Tech, yeah, sorry. So he decommitted from Iowa. Oklahoma State and Penn State aren't in the picture anymore. So it just makes you wonder where kind of, I guess you can go back and look, but just where Nebraska was originally, and now they're kind of the front runner here.
You have
Obviously
to go
things
pretty
change.
deep into the graphic announcements to see where Nebraska came off the
Yeah,
board.
looking at his Instagram, it's way back. I think he might have deleted all that if it was on his Instagram.
It's a lot to delete.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to track back to what week did Nebraska get scrubbed from all of
Yeah.
that?
At least should have came out this week. They play Michigan, so at least it would have been a better game. That would
Yeah,
have been
maybe.
fun.
I did see people
Maybe it'll
tweeting
come out
like
again. Maybe it'll be 3
yeah.
weeks in a row.
I did see people tweeting that like his announcement would be like the 3rd of October or like the 14th. I don't know if those were like real things. It was more I was doom scrolling and saw somebody quote tweet the post of, you know, him making a second visit to Nebraska. But man, like I said, I hope he gets everything he wants. But at this point it's like, okay, let's make up our minds. Let's do the thing. We'll do the thing. Please just do the thing so that we can move on. But here's what it is. I think I think he's going to be a great wrestler. I think he will be great for eyes on wrestling, butts in seats, everything else. I think he'll end up being a phenomenal coach. He's not somebody I could see going into MMA afterwards, at all. So I'm hopeful he has a very, very long and great career and brings more
You want
eyes.
to hit that rule change really quick?
Yeah, we alluded to it, but we didn't actually go into it. What is the Bo Bassett rule? I guess we could call it.
So since the inception of RTCs being accepted by the NCAA, there's been a radius from which potential student athletes have to live within from the school in order to qualify to participate at their RTC. So they had to live within 250 miles of the RTC. And that was part of the contention with Iowa, is that because he was outside of that limit, he wasn't allowed to train with their RTC. So that limited his availability to practice if he went on a visit there, because he can't practice with a team because he's not on the team yet. He can't practice with the RTC because he's outside the limit. As of September 1st, the 250-mile radius no longer applies to RTCs as directed by USA Wrestling, because they were in charge of that rule. So for all intents and purposes, with the NCAA wrestling and USA Wrestling, there is no radius requirement, no distance requirement or limitation as there previously was. So if you are RTC qualified, which pretty much any D1 prospect is, you can train at, visit, compete at, or with any RTC. And mean, we can say it's a Bo Bassett rule because that was, his issue with Iowa is not getting what he wanted, not being able to train with them as some other people were at other schools. Because like every rule, interpretations are different between different departments and different schools. But now that's no longer an issue. So it's going to open up some options within recruiting because now they can legally train at any RTC.
Very interesting. Pretty funny how that goes, isn't it? And essentially it makes
The
the
rich richer.
second, what's that?
It makes the rich richer.
Yeah, that, but it also makes the second visit to Nebraska even more intriguing because he had his official visit. Now official visits are very much so different because I can remember being like recruited and coaches would be like, "Hey, why don't you take a visit and take a tour of the school? And if I happen to see you when you come, we'll talk." And it wouldn't count as like an official visit. Now it's the RTC coach can be like, "Hey, why don't you come train for a weekend? We'll figure it out. You can come train for a weekend and tour the school and see what the school is and whatever else, right?" So like these RTC rules, they open up different recruiting guidelines essentially. So very interesting. Now everybody can travel and go where they need to go, whatever else. The overlap is still whether or not there's like a recruiting violation, whereas they are getting flown here or there by the RTC. If it would go as like an improper NCAA benefit, but
Again, that also depends on department.
and interpretation. So,
Mhm.
and in wrestling, we know that people aren't going to look at this and be like, "Well, what's that?" We rarely see
Depends on the school.
we rarely see recruiting violations get fully enforced in wrestling. It is rare.
I will tell you a couple stories off camera here.
Yeah, I'm just saying the wrestling world doesn't have a lot of recruiting violations that they can speak on as many as we have seen, a basketball player, a football player. I mean, hell, I can remember when Kyle Snyder when he won Olympics and they were trying to figure out how he can accept his Living the Dream fund. Now it's like, you want a world title? Here it is. Done. It
Well,
doesn't fall under anything.
did you guys see Schwab has that kid living with him?
Right?
Yeah.
Like
Ridiculous. Even bought him a dog. What the hell?
Yeah.
I know.
Heard he
He's-
cooks his meals and everything.
He's sleeping with the mom too. That's another step. That's too far. Come on.
That's a
Schwab is just wiling out.
complete recruiting violation. Just ridiculous.
And I did go back and look. Nebraska was 14th on his list, if my calculations are correct here.
There you go.
That was before their second place finish in NCAA's, though.
Also true. Yeah. Pitt Johnstown made it ahead of them for what it's worth.
God, that's so. God.
I'm sure it had a lot. I'm sure that had a huge impact. Yeah. I got nothing else. I think we've jumped all over these topics.
Sure, people are sick of us.
I'm sure they are. If you've made it to this point, why? Sometimes we just go off the rails, and it is what it is. We're a little delirious. Kevin's still recovering from his 40th birthday party.
Very much so.
We're happy to have him upright and eyes open at this point, but
this time change of watching Worlds is never helpful.
Yeah,
it's not beneficial for the body. But
yeah. Well,
it
we've
is
got
what
a couple more days. We'll have GRECO. We'll talk about GRECO next week, as well as some of these other coaching changes that have gone down, or at least are in the mix of happening. So yeah, as always, we appreciate you guys listening and watching. We have fun. We do stupid things. Sometimes we say stupid things. Appreciate shout out to our sponsors as well, Poseidon Strength and Adidas Wrestling. I'm sure Kevin is probably wearing a pair right now, as well as the shoes behind him. Always rocking a pair of shoes as we're on the pod. So, like I said, like, share, subscribe, comment down below. I know this show got a little probably off the rails, but it is what it is. Shit happens.
It's the best content.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we'll go by the book. Especially, I mean, when the season comes around, we'll have some other like true segments and things, and we'll get into some fantasy wrestling, and so we're working on some stuff. But right now, we're all still a little delirious from watching wrestling early morning or recovering from our GoldenEye birthday party. But again, we appreciate everybody listening and watching the Quad Pod, and we'll see you again next week.